Let's meet the candidates with our first debate. We start with District 1. That's an open seat, and the candidates in this race are Tim Benn and Kate Burke. District 1 represents the citizens living in Northeast Spokane. It's located east of Division, north of the freeway. It includes Hilliard and extends east to Phelps Field. So we welcome our candidates. Thanks for coming. So Kate, you get the first question, and we'll give you an easy landing one. So you win the election, you're sworn in. What's the top priority?
Awesome, thanks for asking. I think my top priority is obviously making sure that I'm a voice for the people and the citizens in Northeast Spokane. So what I've been hearing at the doors is the infrastructure is the biggest thing that they want to fix. So I want to make sure that I'm focusing on those priorities, being persistent and making sure that we have a loud voice that's going to advocate for those funds and services so that Northeast Spokane people can have a higher quality of life.
Okay, so Tim, you get elected, you get sworn in, what do you do first?
Well, I start listening to the people, which I think our city council is currently lacking. I think we need to focus, I actually agree with Kate, we need to focus on infrastructure, but the other thing we need to focus on is property crime, homelessness, and basic public safety. And I think that we're lacking in resources that are going into public safety, and people want to know that when they call 911, someone's going to arrive. So I want to focus on serving the citizens basic municipal services, and that's what I'm hearing door to door.
Okay, so we'll get to some of those issues, and so Tim, we'll get the next question. Your names are going to be on the same ballot as Proposition 2, and many people know that as the rail car initiative. It's the initiative that would fine people and companies that move rail cars that have either uncovered coal, some types of oil through certain parts of the city. Well, you've got lots of rails in your district, so what are your thoughts about Proposition 2?
Well, I think that the voters are probably going to be wise and reject it because we've seen a history of Spokane losing lots of services and funds to lawsuits. And I don't think we need to do that. I think we need to work with our partners at the state level and ensure that we have safety. I know that one of the complaints I hear from citizens a lot is the railroad crossing at Sprague and Freya and the parts of their car that fall off when they cross it. So I think those are the issues that we need to focus on is having good transition. And I think with the North-South Freeway coming in and more railroad crossings being elevated, and then we're not at grade railroad, I think that also brings safety. So that's where I think we should focus, not getting ourselves sued with a bad proposition.
Okay, so Kate, what do you think about Proposition 2?
Yeah, not sure if it's legal or not, but as a citizen-run ballot initiative, I think that when the people vote on it, if they choose to vote it in, it's something that the city council needs to abide by, make sure that we're respecting the votes of our citizens and making sure that we're leading with example. So that's a big priority for me, is if the citizens feel like it's a big issue, then we need to stand up and make sure it is. But I do appreciate the conversation that this initiative has brought up, because safety is a big concern in our community with the railroads going directly through the heart of Spokane. If anything happens to those rail cars, it could devastate our Spokane River, which is a vital part of our community. It could really hurt our downtown core, and that's where all of our hospitals are. And so I think that this has started a great conversation to make sure that we have safety in our community.
Okay, so our next question is for Kate. Critics of the current council think that members are spending too much time on things that aren't on the council's docket or on the council's purview. What do you think about that?
I believe that if we need to push an issue to make sure that the state knows it's a priority, we should do that. That being said, if it's already an issue at the state level, we need to focus locally here and make sure that we are actually doing what the citizens need in Spokane. But when we hear from constituents and we hear that there are issues out there that they want protections on or resolutions on, I believe that's what council is doing. They're responding to their constituents. And I think that's important to know that their voice is being heard. But I will be focusing on making sure that I'm an advocate for those resources and services for the folks in Northeast Spokane.
Okay, Tim, what do you think about this? Is the council staying with its business?
Well, I think we avoid a lot of votes in our current council. Like the council denied a vote on the Monroe Street project and some changes there that would have helped the discussion. And I think we do need to focus more on the local level. I'm concerned that we open ourselves up to lawsuits, and then we also misinform the public because of the levels of government and what municipal government's role is. And it's really potholes and public safety. We need to handle those issues. And when there's an issue that comes up that's in the purview of the state government, we need to encourage people to talk to their representatives and maybe come up with solutions, maybe talk to other council members on what the best state level solution is for Spokane. And that's, I believe, how it should be handled.
So you just mentioned public safety, so the next question will be about that. Mayor Condon has proposed a budget that provides funding for new officers. If you had your choice, how and where should those officers be deployed?
Doug, can I do a rebuttal to that
Sure,
last question?
sure.
Awesome. My question to Tim is, if you think we should be focusing so much on the local level, why did you work so hard to get Proposition 1 on the ballot, which is an initiative that it actually works with immigration laws, and that's a federal issue? So that's my question. Rebuttal.
Okay.
Did you want to answer that, or?
Sure, yeah. Well, I thought Proposition 1, and there's obviously problems with it, but I thought the city council should have stayed out of the policy making at the administrative level. Basically what they did was they took a policy and made it ordinance, and I thought that the policy under our police department was working great for decades, and we should have left it there.
Okay, so let's go to deploying new officers. Where do you think they should be?
Well, I think what we have to do is look at where the crime is, and we need to deploy those officers in those areas. I think that it would be nice to see some property crime investigation, but also I think we need to make sure that we're doing something about the drug trafficking because of the heroin and methamphetamines that is a growing problem in our city.
Okay. So Kate, if you had the choice to speak with the police chief regarding where new officers should be, where would you put them?
Yeah, I think that there's a high crime rate downtown right now in our bar scene area. So I think that that's what the police chief would say, is that that's where a large amount of crime happens. That being said, I do see our citizens in Northeast Spokane are fearful of property crimes. They call the officers, there's a slow response time, and that means to me that we need to get more officers out in Northeast Spokane to make sure that they're attending to those needs of the citizens.
Okay. So Kate, let's go next to homeless people and the city's approach to that. How would you assess the city's homeless problem, and what's the best approach to addressing it?
Yeah, there's many things I want to say here. So I think one of our biggest populations of homeless are 18 to 24-year-old youth. And to me, that means we're lacking in making sure that these foster care youth are terming out of their foster care services and being able to come into, adulthood in a successful way. So I know there's coalitions working on that, and I'm in those conversations, really proud to be there. I also believe that you don't become homeless and then get permanent housing. There's some sort of transitional space that needs to happen in there. And right now we're lacking transitional housing. We've got great nonprofits that are working on this, but I think the city needs to step up. And I like to see some sort of transitional housing around some tiny homes to make sure that folks are able to get onto a place where there's services there that they can make sure to get, and that they are able to have a transitional space to get into permanent housing, because that's the end goal.
So Tim, you had mentioned homelessness in one of your earlier answers. How would you address it?
Well, I think that we do need to talk to the city's partners, that there's some funding available, obviously, for the 24-hour shelters. I think that we need to address the mental health issue. I think we need our state partners, to help fund some of the mental health institutions so that we can get the help to the people that need them. And then I think the drug issue is also a problem. I think that heroin and methamphetamines grab a hold of people's lives, and that can cause homelessness. But I think those nonprofits are the best way to approach that. And then we need to bring in jobs. We've lost a lot of jobs. I've spent my whole entire life in North Spokane, and what I've seen is that a lot of the low-skilled and skilled labor jobs that a lot of my friends and family had done in the past are no longer here, and we need to bring those jobs back and bring opportunities for some of those young homeless to thrive on their own once we get them into permanent housing and make those opportunities available.
Okay, very good. So the next question is going to be district specific, and it's going to regard the north-south corridor, also known as the north-south freeway, which will be going through your district fairly soon to connect what's already built with I-90. So what's your view about how the freeway is going to affect your district?
Well, I actually live just a couple of blocks from where it's coming in, and I think that it's going to be, well, it depends on the leadership, actually. I believe that it could be a great opportunity for Northeast Spokane, but it also can be a way to pass Spokane by. And I think we need to make sure it's an opportunity. I just was at a meeting last night talking to the folks at WashDOT about how we can make this an opportunity, on-ramps and off-ramps and jobs. for people in Northeast Spokane and all the children my wife and I have been working with for decades that need those jobs. But I also want to make sure we have safety. We need plenty of lighting. We need to make sure that the infrastructure matches the neighborhoods. And so I'm encouraged about the project, and I'm glad I'm already part of that conversation.
Okay. You said WSDOT, Washington State Department of Transportation, for those who aren't familiar with the acronym. So Kate, how do you think about the freeway affecting your district?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned. I do think we have been trying to get this for 40 plus years, and great, we got it at the state level in the last transportation package we passed, and we got it fully funded. So let's use those funds and make sure we don't lose them back to somewhere else in the state. That being said, normally what happens when a freeway goes through a great community, there's heartache and travesty that comes to that community just due to places where people can hide under, and it becomes kind of a transient place, and that makes me a little nervous. I want to make sure that we are aware of those concerns that the citizens have, because I've heard it at the doors, and I want to make sure that we're able to successfully get a transition here and make sure that we are promoting Northeast Spokane as a destination area for all of Spokane.
Okay, so the next question we had set up as a yes or no, but I think we have some time that you can expand on your question. So on your answer, River Park Pavilion, cover or no cover?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with no cover, unless we have some miraculous new technology that has come about. In the past, the times that we've covered it, we've had to revamp it, and it's, in my mind, a waste of our tax dollars. But it's a little sad to see, because I think some folks wanted it in Spokane, but I think we can use those funds in other places and make that park amazing, much more amazing than it could be with that pavilion covered.
Okay, what do you think, Tim?
Covered or uncovered? Well, that has been a debate. I think that the citizens voted on a pavilion that was covered, but I think when the Parks Board put together the plan, and of course the Parks Board is not connected to the City Council. City Council cannot change the decision of the Parks Board, but I'm hoping that they come up with a good resolution that the people are happy with. But the advertisement was covered. I think that it was undoable when they put out the advertising for that, and we should be more specific, and I think we need to hold government accountable to what they're selling the citizens, and they should give the citizens what they vote for. So in the future, I hope that they're able to make sure that they're advertising what the finished product's gonna be.
Okay, so we have time to squeeze in one more question. You both come from different points of view politically. Tim has run as a Republican in the past, even though this is a nonpartisan race, and Kate works for a Democratic state senator. So I'm going to start with you, Tim. Tell me about your ability to work with those who have different points of view, political points of view. You may potentially be on a city council that is more progressive than conservative. So how do you work with them?
Well, in 2013, I wrote legislation at the state level. It was a child care safety bill. It had to do with regulations and making sure the proper trained people were inspecting the right things in child care facilities. And it was unanimously approved by Democrats, Republicans, and signed into law by a Democrat governor in 2013. So I don't really have a problem. I think what we have to do is focus on the real issues and solutions, because partisan politics are getting in the way of those solutions, I believe, at this point in time. And on our city council, I don't see anything partisan about potholes and public safety. It's just a matter of getting the job done for the citizens in the best possible way.
Okay, so Kate, how would you work with a mostly progressive city council?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I've learned a lot at the state level with actual real partisan politics in play, and the fact that we're the little blue sea east of the mountains over in eastern Washington. So we've really had to kind of adapt the way that we work with folks, because we're not over in Seattle with all the other Democrats, and so we've had to make sure that we have good relationships with our partners over here, and I think we've gotten a lot done. I've worked a lot with Senator Baumgartner's office, making sure that we get him on board to get the transportation package passed, and he did that because it was a great option for Spokane, and I see that he trusted us to make sure that we were going to go in together as a team for Spokane, and so I think that shows a lot of integrity to be able to compromise and have new ideas, and I do think having a more progressive council actually makes it harder to pass things, because when you see an all Democratic or an all Republican House or Senate at the state level, you see a lot of them busting heads with each other, not the other side of the aisle. So I think that might be a little bit of a tricky thing, but it'll be interesting to work with people that are like-minded like me, and also people that are not like-minded like me. So.
Okay, well, thank you for answering the questions. We're down to our last couple of minutes. We'll give you each 1 minute to do a closing statement, and we're going to let Tim start.
All right, well, as a lifelong resident in North Spokane, I just want to see opportunity come back. And with my wife and I working with children, I want to make sure that Spokane's a wonderful place for them to, grow up, raise their kids, find a good family wage job. And I think we have to bring those opportunities back. And Spokane became Spokane somewhere along the way. And I want to see us be Spokane again.
Okay. Kate.
Yeah, well, I think Spokane has changed drastically in the last 10 years, and even more so in the past 5 years, where we have a low unemployment rate, lowest in the last, I don't know how long, but low unemployment rates. Our businesses are thriving, our economy is doing great, and the momentum of that is going to land on the shoulders of the next city council person here in Northeast Spokane. And I believe that I'm the person that's going to take that momentum and make our city turn into a great place for everybody that lives here. And I hope for your vote. My name is Kate Burke, and I look forward to serving you.
Thanks to you both. And there you have the candidates running for Spokane City Council in District 1, Tim Benn, Kate Burke. We appreciate you both being here. And now we'll turn our attention to District 2.